unboxing and review and possibly a demo on the Enameled cast iron cookware by Martha Stewart. They were having a sale, and so I got a really good deal on about 5 pieces. And so I've always wanted cast iron. I do own cast iron, however, I own the regular cast iron. And so I'll talk about the differences between the two and why I opted to get these and why I don't use the regular cast iron anymore. So yeah, that's about it. So let's get started with this one. This one was one that I picked up at the store because it was the only one that was available. The others, these boxes you see over here, were actually shipped, and so they finally came in, so I wanted to wait to do the unboxing when everything came in. So this is the 2-quart pot, and this weighs about 6 pounds. And so we'll get started with this one. This one was actually on sale for $29.99, regular $99.99. So in the box you get poached cod and tomato broth recipe by Martha Stewart, and also there's some helpful hints here. Helpful tips as to how to maintain it. So it says wash cookware in warm soapy water with the non-abrasive sponge. Dry thoroughly. Pans with enameled cooking surfaces are ready to use and do not require further preparation. No seasoning required. And it also says here, when cooking, remember to use a low to medium heat. High heat may damage or discolor the cookware, and continual overheating or uncovered cooking may cause food to burn. Always use a pot holder whenever moving or lifting hot cookware to minimize sudden changes in temperature that can cause cookware to warp. Also heat gradually and never pour cold liquid into a hot pan. Use wood or nylon utensils only. Hand wash only for cleanup. Not dishwasher safe. Use a sponge and warm soapy water. Dry immediately after washing. Apply a thin coat of vegetable oil to the rim of the vessel and lid. Wipe off excessive oil. Remove burnt on foods by soaking the cookware for a few minutes. Never use steel or wool scouring powder for pots, as this may scratch the surface. If scrubbing is necessary, use nylon pad with warm soapy water or a non-abrasive silicate-based cleaner. Avoid chlorine cleansers as they cause scratching. So actually, in her little thing, she covered a great deal of the things that I was going to point out. I'm having a deja vu right now. This is really interesting. She mentioned something, and not all of them are like this, but some of them are. Let me get this out. So, in that little tip hair thingamajig she has in there, come on now. She mentioned to oil the rim of the vessel, meaning the rim of the pot. Now, the reason why they suggest that with this particular pot is because, let me pull it out. Rubbery thing here. The enameled cast iron has a coating. It has a coating. And so it's like a porcelain or glass coating that is over the cast iron. And so the rim here is not coated. And that's actually a good thing. Because what happens a lot of times is when people are stirring or whatever they're doing with their spoons, what they do is they bang the pot to get whatever it is that's on their spoon off and back into the pot. So they bang it like that, and the thing is it will damage the enamel that is on the pot. So this is the reason why they do not have it enameled around here. And also on the bottom part of the lid, it's not enameled here in the gray area. It's enameled here and on this side, but it is not enameled here. And again, they do this on purpose because when you have your lid and you put it down, it's going to make constant contact. Every time you open the lid and close the lid, you're going to bang it. there's going to be some type of banging, so this is why they do that, is to protect the actual enamel that's on the inside and the outside of the pot. So with Martha Stewart, they all have different handles. With her collection, they have a regular handle, which I call a regular handle, a nice little handle you can grip. It's easy to grip. Some of them have a round little knob on it. I think that's a little bit more difficult to grab. I think this is a lot easier, especially if you have your mitts. It seems to be a lot easier for me. So that's that. This color is cranberry. They do have the red, which I was thinking of getting, but I chose the cranberry. I kind of like subdued colors, so that's why I got this. It is colored all the way around. There is enamel all the way around the pot, except for the area that I mentioned. So on the inside of the pot, it's very sleek or slick. And so this prevents food from sticking. Now, cooking with enameled cast iron takes a great deal of, how should I say, mindfulness and care. There are certain things you can do with a regular cast iron skillet that you cannot do with the enameled cast iron skillet. And one of those things is, like I read in the card, you have to gradually heat the pot up, or the skillet, or whatever piece you're using that's enameled cast iron. You can't just turn it on high heat like you would a regular cast iron. Regular cast iron, you can just turn it on high and just get it to the temperature that you need it to be right away. With this, you have to be more mindful. You have to gradually increase, and the reason why that is because of the enamel. The enamel is going to expand and contract, and so it needs time to do that. It's like glass. If you have a cold glass and you pour something hot in it, it's going to shatter. It's going to crack. And so what will start to happen is you'll start to get micro fissures within the enamel of the your pot or your skillet or whatever you're cooking with that's enameled cast iron. And then what happens over time is the ingredients or the things that you're cooking with will start to seep into the micro fissures, and before you know it, you'll have ugly stains at the bottom. This is why people have issues with their enameled cookware, because they believe that they can cook with enameled cookware as they would a regular cast iron skillet, and you cannot do that. You have to be very, very mindful of cooking with cast iron skillet or pot or cookware in general. So that's that. On that one, that's the 2-quart. Like I said, that one's 6 pounds. I'm going to put this over here. These here. And we're going to open this one. I don't know which one this is. Put little Martha over here. And we'll check out what this is. Alright. So this is the only one that I was not able to get in cranberry. So this is the wok. And the wok only comes in indigo blue. Or should I just say indigo? So, yeah, this is the wok. This is actually the one that I wanted the most. Now this one has a glass lid, whereas the rest of the collection has a cast iron lid. Alright, and actually this is the knob that I was talking about that others have. So this is the lid to the wok, and like I said, this is the round handle. It's okay, but I like the other one. And this here is the wok. Call it. Now, the reason why I wanted this one is because I do a lot of stir fry. A lot of stir fry my vegetables and things like that. And I wanted this kind of a deep, but yet it kind of like spreads out rather than a regular skillet. I did buy the skillet, but I think this would hold a lot more, and it would allow me to move things around. So this is enamel too. However, it feels much different than this. This is a very smooth where this one has a little texture to it. So I'm not sure if this is going to work for me. I'm going to try it out and see if this is something that I'm going to want to keep, because there is a complete difference in terms of texture. This one is very smooth, and this one has like a rough feel to it, but it is enameled as well. So we'll see how this works. It's a nice blue. I was thinking of getting the blue set, but I don't have a lot of stuff that's blue, so we'll put this here. Actually, alright. And I guess next we'll do this one. I have no idea what this one is either. Sound like a steady meat is like, and I find my box cutter or my X-Acto knife. Alright. Now this one, I may have to send back, because I think this is actually a return. Because none of her boxes have tape on it like this. So this is obviously resealed. I'm going to assume it's resealed. Yeah. So I'll open it just to show you, but I will be returning this, because I do not want something that someone else bought and returned, because there's a reason why. Which is very shady of Macy's. Actually, in the reviews, in the reviews that I was reading on the Macy's website, I did see a few of them that complained about having used items sent to them. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Maybe not, but we'll see. Maybe because it's very big. I don't know. It looks like, I don't know what Macy's is doing. They need to stop it. They need to stop it. So back in 2011, there was a recall for her cookware because there was some chipping and something cracking, I believe, or cracking and chipping. I guess it's the same thing. I'm just looking for fingerprints. That's all. So this is the 8-quart, and the 8. I don't know how much I told you the wok was. The wok was regular $139.99, and I got it for $55.99. This is the 8-quart pot, the oval one. So this is the only one that I got in oval. The only one that actually they had in oval. They did have an 8-quart. They did have an 8-quart round, but I figured, you know, I got a 6-quart pot, so I really didn't need an 8-inch round one, so I just got the oval. Again, it has the same enamel on the inside, and it's not treated or enameled here where the lid is going to touch. And that sound is the reason why they don't do that. So this is the 8-quart. Alright. Braised pork with cabbage and apples. Well, I don't eat pork, so I'm not going to use that, but I guess I can substitute it with chicken. So maybe this wasn't, maybe it wasn't returned, but it was just sealed because of the weight. Alright, and now, we'll do this one. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There must be 2 in here. Three 8x8. Okay. Reward. This is the skillet. Yeah, I think they keep it from falling out. This is the 6-quart. So let's do this one and then we'll do this one. So, is this even the right side? Let me see. I hope I hit record. Oh, that would be hilarious. So this. Let's see the lid. Pot. This color is actually really nice. I think it goes great in my kitchen. This back. So I better start cooking more since I'm buying all this stuff. So the reason why I'm actually switching over and not using my other pots and pans is because some of them they're stainless steel, but they have nickel in it, and I'm getting away from using toxic utensils and moving more towards items that aren't as toxic or harmful to the body. So I threw all of my Teflon pans out. I only have, I do have an Emerald set that I guess I can use, but I believe it has nickel as well. I just have to check the ratio of it. But this is the 6-inch, I'm sorry, the 6-quart pot, colored at the bottom. So I'm actually quite excited to cook with these. Yeah, so this is there, we have that. And then this is the skillet. This is a 12-inch skillet. So this 6-quart was $179.99. I got it for $71.99. The wok, I think I told you, was $139. I got it for $55.99. And so this skillet was $99.99, and I got it for $39.99. So the reason why I opted for this brand, Martha Stewart, is because, like I said, I've never owned enameled cast iron before. So I didn't want to buy something because the the reviews that I watched online, people had a lot of damaged Le Creuset pots and pans, and it's because I believe they didn't take care of it properly. So because I've never had cast iron or enameled cast iron before, I wanted to test it out and see if, if I can maintain something like this and keep it looking in its pristine condition, which I try to do with all the things that I buy, then great, it'll last a long time. However, this is the set that I'm willing to do the trial and error with because it didn't cost a great deal of money. I mean, it basically cost what I would spend on like a stainless steel or a Teflon pan or like Calphalon or something like that. So that's why I figured, I would spend it only because they had the sale. Otherwise, I wouldn't have paid full price for this stuff. So it has an enamel inside. It's not slick and shiny like this, but it's kind of like the wok. But actually, it's a little smoother than the wok. So maybe I'll make an egg or something, because that's one of the hardest things to do is to make an egg in a cast iron skillet. So it's supposed to be easier, but like I said, you have to understand the rules of engagement when you're using enameled cast iron. There's certain things you cannot do. For instance, I cannot turn this on high right away. I have to gradually heat it up and get it to temperature, whatever temperature it is that I need. And I have to allow the cold oil to get up to temperature with the skillet. I can't put cold oil in and then put food inside of it. I have to allow the oil to reach temperature of the cast iron, or the enameled cast iron cookware. That's key. If you don't, it's going to stick. So another thing that I purchased, I saw when I was at Costco, were these silicone utensil set. Now do I have a couple? No. I mean, I have bamboo and I have wood, but those are all, I stepped on something else. Those are all hard, so it can scratch, and so you're supposed to use nylon if you're cleaning it. So you wouldn't use, it doesn't say brush, it does not say use a wooden brush, it doesn't say anything like that. So it would make sense to only use something that's either comparable to nylon or is nylon. Well, I don't think there's anything that you can cook with that's nylon. So the next best thing is to use silicone. If I can find the they really did make this thing hard to get into. Okay, there we go. So this set, I think, was only $20 at Costco. And it comes with a little trivet, which is pretty neat. And it comes with some silicone-based tongs. These are not as quality as the ones that I have, but I have some. I have a set of 3 already, so these aren't the best tongs, but that's okay because I have other ones. And this silicone spatula, see, perfect, no scratching, no micro anything on it. And some kind of spatula I can use too if I'm, whatever. So this is great. This is I forget what you call this brush. It's not a pastry brush, basting brush. So if you're using the oval pot and you have a chicken in there or something and you're braising, this is perfect. You're not going to accidentally bang the inside. This is why I like this set. It's all silicone. Like, you're not going to accidentally bang it, with the wood piece or metal piece, because some of them have some basting brushes have a metal thing around it with, I guess, looking like a horsehair kind of thing. So that's pretty neat. It comes with a spoon. It's a pretty deep spoon too, a slotted spoon. That's nice deep slotted spoon. So again, I mean, this just falls in line with how you're supposed to maintain your enameled cookware, is to have something that is going to complement it and not go against it. What are the rules of engagement? Well, you have to protect the inside, so you use something that's going to protect the inside. And here's a regular spoon. These spoons are nice and deep. I like that. And this is they call it a two, what is it, oh, it's called an dual-ended spatula. Okay, so you have this side, it's a little bigger here, and a little smaller here, so if you need the, whatever, spatula, make some eggs with it if you want, whatever you want with it. It comes with another little small, actually this one's made a little better than the other one. Maybe something's wrong with this one. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know about this. This way. Anyway, so it comes with that. I mean, for $20, you can't beat it. Let's do this. You have your slotted spoon, and your regular spoon. You have your spatula with a handle on it. There you go. You have your regular spatula. You have your, what is this thing called? Basting? What is this called? Basting brush. Put that there. And you have your dual purpose or dual head spatula. And then you have your tongs there. And you have your large tongs there. And you have your small tongs. There you go. And then you have a whisk. I have a wire whisk, but it's not made like this. Actually, this one's a little better. Mine got all mangled. So it comes with a wire, a silicone whisk, which, if you need to do your sauces or something like that, spaghetti sauce or whatever, hey, it's here. Perfect. For $20, you can't beat that. And it complements the cookware very well, actually. So this is the cookware that I got. I'm excited to use it. You have the skillet, the 2-quart, the wok, and you have your 6-quart, and you have your 8-quart. I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but I wanted it. So yeah, there you have it. This is the Martha Stewart collection. They do have a griddle pan. However, I did not get the griddle pan because I didn't think I would use it. I do have one that's regular cast iron, but if I needed to grill something, I guess I can pull that thing out. But I mean, there was really no need for me to have grill marks on something. But if I wanted to do it, like I said, I can do it. Since I have one, but in terms of like regular cooking, because see with the grill with the grill with the lines on it, it's not going to stick to the bottom. It's just, if it does stick, it's only going to stick where the raised parts are, where the grill marks would be coming from. So that's why I'm not reluctant to using that for grill marks. But if it's just for regular cooking, I would have an issue with that. So that's it. Oh yeah, and the little trivet here. So yeah, that's it. That's the Martha Stewart Enameled Cast Iron collection. And so I'll do a demo. I'm not sure what I'll make, but I'll make something and show you how it comes out. I'm going to use an egg. I really want to use an egg because people have a problem with cooking eggs in a cast iron skillet, enameled or not. So we'll see. All right. So everyone, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Hold on a second. I wanted to show you. There's a few things. Hold on. Let me see, where is it? Okay, I'm back. I wanted to add a couple of things to the video in terms of the maintenance or upkeep of the enameled cookware. I wanted to talk about the difference between a detergent and a soap. I recommend a soap over. Oh, my little dog's over here. Hey, what are you doing, girl? Want some water? Go get some water, girl. the difference between a soap and a detergent. A soap is actually made with natural ingredients. So basically in the soap you have lye and fat. And that's basically it. And so there are less harmful agents within this product versus something like this, like Dawn or any of these other detergents. A detergent is basically a cleansing agent that has chemicals in it, synthetic chemicals I should say, whereas this uses natural type chemicals in it. And that's the difference. And so I notice when I'm washing dishes with something like this, with detergents, and you know the difference because detergents have it makes your dishes, or the suds are very slick. So you've probably been washing dishes, you know, or as you're washing dishes, something slips out of your hand because it's too slippery and it breaks. Well, you don't get that with a regular soap. You get that with the detergent because of all the things that are in it that allow that to happen, but not with the soap. And so I recommend using a soap with your enameled cast iron because it's going to be less chemicals that are going to react with the enamel on the inside. It's not going to have any acids other than the fatty acid from the fat. What are you doing, girl? What are you doing, baby girl? So that's my recommendation. Also, with when you're cleaning, you want to use something that is nylon. And so Scotch, let me see if I can find the wrapper to this. Scotch actually makes this scrub in, let me just make sure it's in there, scrub and wipe cloth. And let's see in the back here, it is non-scratch scrubbing and absorbent wiping, long-lasting scrubbing material. All right, so on one side, let me show you. So on this side, you have your sponge, your regular sponge, and on the other side, you have the actual nylon part. If you can see that. See that? Let me see. There we go. So this part, which is non-abrasive. And so this is actually very different than the yellow one that you see with the green scrub part on it. That is very different than this here. This is more of a plastic, whereas the other one is some kind of different material. And I know that it has an abrasive side to it because it scratched some of the things that I've cleaned with. And the thing is, when you're going to be washing these on a regular basis, and so you want to make sure you maintain the pristine condition of the enamel on the inside of the pot. Let me see. I'll use this one as an example. You want to make sure you're keeping this bottom part as flawless as possible because that's what's going to maintain the non-stick, and it's going to reduce or prevent the stains from becoming apparent and visible within the pot. So like I said earlier in the video, a lot of if you look at reviews on the enameled cast iron pots, people are having issues with having a stained bottom. One of the reasons why is because, well, you have to think about when enameled cast iron came out. So I think they've been doing it since, what, 18-something? Le Creuset. So they were the first ones to start doing that. And so back then, they didn't have items like this that were silicone-based. They had wooden spoons. And so even a wooden spoon would cause scratches or micro scratches. And over time, you constantly wear it down. The enamel is going to erode. And that's one of the reasons why people have issues with their pot, because they think, oh, okay, well, they may be smart enough not to use a metal utensil, but that doesn't mean that they're not using a wooden utensil or a bamboo utensil. That it is still hard, and so it's still going to cause micro scratches, and over time those micro scratches deepen and they worsen, in conjunction with people not heating them up properly. You can't, like I said earlier, you cannot just put this on high heat and think, oh, it's cast iron skillet, it's durable. Yes, the iron is durable, but the inside, the enamel that the cast iron is coated with is very delicate. But it's not that delicate, but you just have to understand the rules of engagement. And so the rules of engagement with this is you have to gradually heat it up and give it time to expand so you don't get the cracking. Another thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier or not, but you do not want to put cold items in a hot pot or skillet. This is what causes the enamel to crack, and over time you'll get these micro fractures within the pot, and this is where the ingredients that you're cooking with will seep in, and you'll start getting your stains because it's no longer sealed. So, for instance, if you have frozen vegetables, number one, you want to heat your enamel cookware up to the temperature that you need it to be when you start cooking, but you're not supposed to put anything that's cold or frozen in a hot skillet or pot like that, because again, you create these micro fissures. So the best thing to do is to have room temperature products. It's the same thing with an egg. You don't want to take an egg from a refrigerator, and this is one of the reasons why people who have enamel cast iron skillets and regular cast iron skillets, the reason why they have issues with an egg sticking is because you're taking something that's extremely hot and you're putting something that is extremely cold into it, and I'm trying to remember what it is, but you don't give the cold product enough time to, or I think it's the water, the moisture within that product. It takes longer to evaporate, and so there isn't enough time for that oil to, because it's cooling it down, the oil, and so you want to have that barrier. That's why when you cook with cast iron, you have some type of oil, some type of fat within it, and that's going to create a barrier between the skillet and the product. But when you have it cold, it cools it down, and that barrier kind of dissipates a bit, and that's why it sticks. So when you're cooking with an enameled cast iron or regular cast iron, you don't want to cook with anything that's cold. Just like a steak, you don't want to cook a cold steak. You want to have a room temperature steak so that it cooks thoroughly all the way through, or cooks evenly. It's not like raw in the middle, but burned on the outside. So it's just knowing how to cook with these things. And so there is a more knowledge there that has to be had in order to cook with something like this, because you have to know how to cook, when to put certain things in, what the temperature is supposed to be of that product when you put it into a hot skillet like this. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not simple. It's not just cut and dry. There are certain things that you have to know when using an enameled cast iron. But again, I just wanted to point out how to maintain, or what I would recommend. Like I said, I think it's Miss Mayers or Miss Myers, whatever, however it's pronounced. But this is a very good one. I like the lilac smell. Anyway, this and this is really good. Try to avoid the ones with the green scrubby thing on it. I think you know which ones I'm talking about. There's ones that are kind of round and they're like little plastic. That's fine. Plastic doesn't have that abrasive effect. And try to stay away from salt. So in these videos, you see people using salt or baking soda in order to clean the stains from it. Look, the damage is already done. If it is stained, if your cookware is stained and you have, the coating or the enamel has worn off, at that point, fine. Go ahead and use your, bartender? I don't know what it's called. Some kind of cleansing stuff. It's abrasive, or baking soda, or sea salt, people say to use. You can use those things, but only if it has already eroded. If you still have, like, for instance with this, I would never put anything that's abrasive. No baking soda, no salt, no bar keepers, whatever. Nothing that is going to be abrasive to the inside enamel of the pot. The only time you use something like that is when you have already failed and you already have the stains, you already have the micro scratches, the fissures in there. And so at that point, what is there to maintain? You're just cleaning, you're trying to get the stains out. But at that point, I mean, it's already done, the damage is done. So, but what I'm saying is in order to prevent those things from happening, do not use those things. Those things should only be used when you have already damaged the bottom of your pot or skillet. If you want to maintain it, like I said, use something that's non-abrasive. And if you do get food that is stuck in it, let it soak use something like this, something that's mild, something that's not, that doesn't have a lot of acid, that's not going to eat away at it. You do not put bleach in it, like I read in the little card there. You don't want to put anything like that that has any kind of chemicals that's going to eat away at the enamel. It's kind of, think of it like your teeth. Like you wouldn't just, leave, lemon juice on your teeth because it's going to eat the enamel. So you don't want anything that's going to be so harsh that it's going to eat the inside and erode the coating, because that's the whole reason why you buy a set like this, is to maintain or to have the enamel in it. You don't want to cook it off. Other brushes that, let me show you, I have something else. Other brushes that you can use, I found these at Target. I also got this at Target, and I purchased this at Target, and these brushes here. Now, this brush is very soft. It's for glasses and cups, but it's very, very soft. Whereas this one is a little bit more harsh. So if you can get away with using something that's softer, let it soak whatever it is you have in your pot. Maybe you cook something and there's something stuck in there. Let it sit with water with a little bit of soap, and use a soft brush, but let it soak so it'll loosen up, and then use a soft brush so that you don't create micro fissures. Now, this one, like I said, is a little bit more rough, but if you wanted to use something like this, you can, very lightly. I would not use a lot of pressure. I see people scrubbing, but like I said, people are really using a lot of pressure only because they've already damaged the pot. If you have a stain in your pot, the damage is done. And you're only trying to get the stain out. But the enamel, it's done. And so you're going to have to continue scrubbing and using products that are abrasive, because at that point, there's no enamel there to protect. And so you're just trying to scrape out or scrub out the stains. So just understand that's why that happens. But again, like, I recommend these nylon type brushes to soak, and I would not use any detergent. So if you have Dawn, if you think, oh, it cuts grease fast. Look, it may cut grease fast, but it's also going to eat at your enamel over time. And so you're going to have to ask yourself, do you want to take a little more time to properly clean your product, your cookware? Or do you want to do it quick and then over time have it to where it's all stained because you allow the chemicals or the synthetic chemicals to eat away at the enamel? So that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Again, like I said, don't put anything cold in your cookware when it's at temperature, meaning it's 300 or 400 degrees, however many degrees that you're cooking at. Do not put any cold liquid in it. If you put water in it, if you add like a broth or water, make sure it's not refrigerated. Make sure it's room temperature. If you're cooking vegetables or whatever it is that you're cooking, make sure that it's room temperature. We do not want to put anything cold in something that's hot in terms of your enamel cast iron. If it's regular cast iron, it doesn't matter. You can put cold, it doesn't matter what it is, cold water in a hot skillet, you can do that. But not with enamel cast iron, because it's going to cause it to react, and that's where you're going to get the cracks. That's where you're going to get the fissures. And that's where you're going to get the ugly bottom on the bottom of your pots and pans. All right, so that's it. If you have any questions, again, go ahead and put them in the comment box, and I'll be more than happy to answer whatever I can. All right, take care, everybody. Bye now. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to talk about. When you're cleaning these in the sink, you have to be extremely careful with it because of the enamel. If you have one of those stainless steel sinks, you are less prone to having chipping when you're putting it in the sink, because it's not as harsh as a porcelain sink would be. Like the one that I have a porcelain sink, and so be careful when you're putting it in the bottom, when you're banging it or putting it in there. Just be mindful of banging it, because it will crack the enamel, and that's what's protecting the cast iron. And so when you start getting chips and things like that, and you don't want to bang your sink up either. You don't want to chip your porcelain sink. So just be mindful that this is like glass, so you don't want to be banging it at the bottom. So what I'm actually going to go get after I make this video is some of those inserts that go at the bottom of the sink. They're kind of like a rubberized thing. So just in case, it may slip out of your hand, you never know. So you don't want to accidentally damage your cookware. So There's also a thing that goes in the middle of the sink that is rubberized. So that will also help, especially with something with something this size. So something that is large like this. This is, and it's heavy. I don't know how heavy this thing is, but it's heavy. It seems heavier than when I held it earlier, but this is very wide. And so obviously you're going to have issues with it sitting in your sink just as is. So you're going to have to hold it like this and clean it. So you don't want the corners, which would be the impact area, you don't want the impact area to hit the bottom of the sink hard, because you'll crack the enamel at the bottom. And so, like I said, in order to maintain the pristine condition, you want to be mindful of the rules of engagement. Of course, the rules of engagement is very delicate, hard surface, not a good idea. So you want to do things to help mitigate any kind of possible damage from regular usage. So like I said, that bottom thing that goes in the sink, that is, some of them are like a metal stainless steel. That may be okay too if you don't want the rubberized ones. Some of them are, I think I've seen some wood ones. And they also have some plastic ones. So plastic may be good too if you don't want. It's probably more sanitary than the rubberized ones. So yeah, just maybe buy something. If you are getting something like this, just get something, to protect it at the bottom, or protect your cookware by placing something in the bottom of your sink, and possibly that middle piece that goes on the long. People usually hang a dish rag in the middle of it, the divider part. So even if you put a rag there, that's actually better. If you want to put a dish rag at the bottom of it, that's fine too if you don't want to go out and buy something. Also, what I wanted to say is, when you are cooking, you want to be mindful of your lid. Even though there isn't any treatment here, what you do want to be mindful of is, if you have granite countertops or something, you want to have like a towel. If you don't have it, like this trivet is not, it's not really big enough. So if you're cooking, you take the lid off and you want to set it down on your counter, make sure you have a towel spread out so that you can put this on there, and you're not going to have it bang on there, or you're not going to hit the corner by accident, because sometimes, look, an accident is an accident. You don't plan for it, it just happens. So if you get in the habit of being mindful of what you're cooking with, then you'll have a better chance of maintaining your cookware and keeping it in a pristine condition. All right, so that's it. I think that's it. So if you do get it, I do recommend. Right now they are having a sale. Today's Memorial Day. Today's the last day, but keep an eye out on Macy's sales, because they always have sales going on, and you can probably get this stuff at a pretty good price, like I did. All right, okay, that's it. Have a great one, everyone. Bye now.